Hello students. So in the previous class we have started about the evidences for the evolution. So far we have completed with three evidences like evidences from comparative morphology and anatomy, and the evidences from embryology, and the evidences from physiology and the biochemistry. In details we have studied what are the changes or how these evidences have contributed to the evolution. So next we'll move on to the another evidence, that is the evidences from the paleontology. Okay. So again here in this evidence we'll see that what are the different changes have been occurred in the evolution. In detail we will study. That is the evidences from paleontology. So evidences from paleontology. These evidences they are drawn from, that is they are the direct evidences of the evolution. Evidences from paleontology, they are the direct evidences for the evolution, right? So what do you mean by paleontology? Paleontology is nothing but the study of fossils. What is paleontology? Paleontology is nothing but the study of fossils, and they are regarded as a written document for the evolution. They are considered, or they are regarded as the written documents of the evolution, right? So what does this evidence states that actually this evidences, that is the paleontology, they are the direct evidences to show that the evolution has taken place. Okay. So what is fossilization? What is paleontology? The study of fossils is known as the paleontology, right? Also it is considered as a written document for the evolution. Paleontology is considered as a written document for the evolution, right? So next comes the fossilization. So what is fossilization? So before studying the fossilization, so here many scientists they have based on these events they have tried to bring out the many changes, that is in the form of sequential events. They have tried to bring the event ancient to present time. What are the changes have been taken place? So they have tried to analyze them, and they have tried to study that in detail, right? In the same way, that is in the form of fossils. So what is fossilization? The process of formation of fossils. The process of formation of fossils is known as fossilization, right? So what is paleontology? The study of fossils is known as paleontology. What is fossilization? The process of formation of fossils is known as fossilization, right? So again here it takes place only under the ideal condition, that is the process of formation of fossils or the fossilization, it takes place under the ideal condition. So you have to keep in mind how the formation of sedimentary rocks has been taken place. That is the formation of sedimentation, which is already have studied in your previous classes in the geography, right? Different types of sedimentation or the sedimentary rocks you already studied. So what do you mean by sedimentary rocks? Yeah, when living organisms generally they undergo the decomposition. If by chance the decomposition is prevented by any other suitable medium, so one of the most suitable medium is the fossils, that is they are converted or they are preserved or they are transferred to the in the form of the fossils. Fine. So these fossils again further it can be used for the study purpose, right? So here what are fossils? Fossils are nothing but the impression of the plants and the animals which are locked in the sedimentary rock. Okay. What are fossils? So first we'll come to know what we mean by fossils. Fossils are nothing but they are the impressions of plants and the animals which are locked in the sedimentary rocks. They are known as the fossils. Fine. So the best example or the excellent examples for this fossils are the Archaeopteryx, which you have already come across this term. Archaeopteryx, they are nothing but it is an ancient fossil bird of Mesozoic era, and it is a connecting link between the reptiles and the birds. It's a connecting link between the reptiles and the birds, and it is an ancient fossil, and it's one of the best example for the fossils which was seen in the Mesozoic era. Okay, that is the Archaeopteryx. So what does this evidence says? In this evidence we come across three terms. One is paleontology, and the one is the fossilization, and the third one is the fossils. Three terms you have to know that. First comes the paleontology. What do you mean by paleontology? The study of fossils is known as paleontology. Fossilization, The process of formation of fossils is known as fossilization. And next comes what are fossils? Fossils, they are nothing but the impressions of plants and animals which are locked in the sedimentary rocks. Okay, and the best example for this is the Archaeopteryx, which is commonly known. It is an ancient fossil and it is a connecting link between the birds and the reptiles. Okay. Okay, so far we have discussed with the evidences from the paleontology. So next we'll move to the another evidences, that is the evidences from the natural selection. So again here evidences from the natural selection, we have got two examples. One is evidences from the peppered moth, or it is also called as industrial melanism, and another one is the evidences from DDT resistance in mosquitoes. Okay. So in the natural selection, that is the evidences from the natural selection, we will be dealing with two examples. One is from the peppered moth, or it is also known as industrial melanism, and another one is the DDT resistance in mosquitoes, and both the examples are important for your exams. It will be asked for 3 marks. Okay. So first comes the evidences from the peppered moth. Okay. So evidences from the peppered moth. So what happens here? Before industrial revolution, before industrialization, that is in the year 1845, that is before industrialization in England, there was a population of the peppered moth. Okay. So first we are dealing with first example, that is the evidences from the peppered moth, or it is also known as the industrial melanism. So what happens here? So here, before industrialization, that is in the 1845 in England, there was a population of the peppered moth, that is which is known as Bettson betullaria. Bettson betullaria, it is a variety of moths which is seen in the England. So that is a before industrial revolution or before industrialization. The population was more. That is, it is a variety of moth. It is only the variety of moth which was seen in the England. Which was black, which was grey in color with black spots. Grey in color, and it was having the black spots on it. So its population was 99. Peppered moth's population was 99%. Right. Then later on, the another variety was came in, that is after industrial revolution, after in early 1845 only. The another population was arised, that is the melanic moth, or it is known as Bettson carbonaria, and its population was 1%. Right? It was black in color with wings, and the peppered moth was grey in color. Right? These are the two types of varieties of moths which were seen in the England. That is, one is a peppered moth, and its population was 99, and the melaniform population was 1%. Right? So after the industrialization, or after the industry, what happens here? The ratio or the population of these two moths were reversed. It was changed. That is, the population of peppered moth was 1%, and the melanic form was the 99%. Why the change has been occurred here? That is, it is mainly due to the industrialization. That is, after the industrialization, the industries were started using the coals, and from the industries the soot were spread everywhere. Due to this, what happens? There was a change in the environment. Before, what happens? The peppered moths were not visible to the predators. Like for example, in the white kerchief, black spots. Like they were not visible. The peppered moths were easily escaped from the predators, and the melanic form were visible. So due to that reason, what happens? The peppered moths population was more. Just we'll have a glance here. The moths, when they used to take rest on the tree trunk, that is before industrialization, the tree trunk were covered with the lichens. Before industrialization, the tree trunks were covered with the lichens, and the background of the peppered bed was got camouflaged. Okay, means completely they were not visible. Peppered moths, when they were taking rest on the tree trunk, the peppered moths were not visible to the predators, whereas the melanic form was easily visible. So due to that reason, what happens? The peppered moths population was more, and the melanic population was less. The melanic form fell prey to the predators, and the peppered moths escaped from the eyes of the predators. Right. So what happens here? The Carbonaria varieties developed among the peppered due to the mutation. Okay. So listen here, what happens before the industrialization? When these moths they took rest on the tree trunk, that is the lichen, the peppered moth it has got escaped from the predators and the melanic form fell in the prey. So due to that reason, before industrialization, the peppered moth population was 99 and the melanic form population was the 1%. Right. Then slowly after the industrialization, the population was swung in the reverse direction. That is, the peppered moth variety has become 1% and the melanic form has become 99%. Why this reason is that, as you already know that this peppered moth it has undergone a variation, or the nature has selected the peppered moth melanic moth after the industrialization. That we'll see now in detail. Okay, so far we have studied what was the condition before the industrialization. So what happens here before the industrialization? The peppered moth population was more, that is a 99%, and the melanic form population was less, it is about the 1%, right? Then after the industrialization, what was the condition? We'll see now. After the industrialization, that is the tree trunks were covered with the soot and the lichens turned black in the color. That is the soot which was produced from the industries, completely they are spread in the environment, and due to that reason what happens, the tree trunks were completely turned black. So due to this what happens, they completely that melanic form was got adjusted with that, means the peppered moths were visible and the melanic form were not visible. So listen here, the lichens, okay, the industries were using the coals. Due to the using of this coals, the tree trunks were completely turned into the black. Okay, this is a most important, please listen here. The lichens are pollution indicators, right? They are the pollution indicators and they will not grow in the polluted environment. Okay, so before industrialization there were no industries and as such there was no any pollution were there. So due to that what happens, the complete trees were covered with the lichens. So after slowly when the industries were established, these industries where they were using these coals, and from the coals the complete the soot was produced and it is covered a tree trunk. And what happens here, uh, generally the lichens will not see in the polluted area. So the completely this shows that even the pollution has also been occurred, right? So with this the background of the melanic moth fell prey to the predators bird, so their population decreased. Okay, so what happens here? That is after slowly industrial, after establishment of the industries, the completely the surrounding was matched. That is, it was completely dark and the melanic form were matched, but the peppered moths were visible to the predators. So due to this, after industrialization, what happens? The peppered moth population was decreased and the melanic form population was increased. Fine. So the Carbonaria variety is got matched with this background and they escape from the eyes of the predators. So due to this, what we comes to the conclusion? The melanic form, that is the Carbonaria form, they have got matched with the surrounding because they are black color and the tree trunks were completely black and they got matched with the surrounding and they were they were escaped from the predators. So their population got increased. Fine. Thus, what happens here means the nature favors those organisms which are best adaptive characters with existing environment. So, what the conclusion becomes when this example is that the nature will favors those organisms which have got best adaptive characters with existing environment. Fine. So here, just a simple example I will give you on a white, that is before industrialization. Just we'll compare before industrialization and the after industrialization. What happens? Before industrialization, peppered moth population was more and melanic form population was less. It was like on the white cloth, white spots. White spots are the peppered moth and the black spots are the melanic. So on the white, usually black spots will be easily visible. So here what happens? The black spots are melanic. Their population was less and the peppered moth population was more before industry. Then slowly after industrialization, what happens here? It has turned. It has become reverse. Like for example, on the white cloth, that is black. Black color is the melanic. black cloth, or we can take another example on the black cloth. Black spots are melanic and the white spots are the peppered form. So here after industrialization what happens? The peppered moths were easily visible to the predators and the melanic form were escaped from the predators. So due to that what happens? The population was more when compared to the peppered moth, right? So this is one of the example where we studied under the evidence, that is the evidence from the natural selection. Always keep in mind our nature will select only the best adaptive characters, that is the organisms which is having the best adaptive characters only exist in the environment. Okay, so before industrialization the peppered, our environment, it has selected the peppered moth variety because it has got the favorable characters and it has got existing. Then melanic form was vanished, but slowly after the industrialization what happens, our nature has selected the melanic form. So due to that what happens, peppered moth has got declined, it has been reduced. Okay, so next we'll move to the another example, that is the resistant to the mosquitoes. DDT resistant in mosquito. Okay, so next we'll move to the another evidences, that is from the DDT resistance. Evidence is from DDT resistance in mosquitoes. Fine. So as you already know that mosquito is an vector, right? So mosquito is an vector which causes the diseases. Mosquito is a vector which causes the diseases, right? What disease it causes? You are already very much familiar that it is going to cause a disease known as the malaria. Fine. So among these mosquitoes, we have got two types of varieties. One is resistant variety and the one is the sensitive variety. Fine. So listen here. So now we are dealing with the evidences from the DDT resistance in mosquitoes, right? So mosquitoes, they are the vectors which causes the diseases. Fine. So again here we have got two types of varieties. One is the sensitive variety and another one is the resistant varieties. Fine. So here Paul Miller, he invented the DDT which kills the mosquito. So what is DDT? You are very much familiar. DDT, how do we explain this? Dichloro, diphenyl, trichloroethane. Dichloro, diphenyl, trichloroethane. It is used to kill the mosquitoes. Fine. So this DDT, it was invented by the Paul Miller. Fine. After the Second World War, he introduced this DDT. So here what happens, that is before the invention of the DDT, the mosquitoes which are sensitive, the number was more. The mosquitoes with sensitive varieties were more and the resistant varieties were less. Fine. So in the mosquitoes, we have got two varieties. One is a DDT sensitive variety and the one is a DDT resistance varieties. So among the sensitive resistance, the varieties were developed due to the mutation. So what happens here, that is after the World War, that is after the invention of the DDT, the mosquitoes which were sensitive, their number got reduced and the resistant varieties number got increased. Fine. So before the World War, that is before the invention of DDT, the mosquitoes which were sensitive, their number was more and the one which was resistant, their number was less. Fine. So here what happens here means, among sensitive varieties, the resistant varieties developed due to the mutation. Sensitive varieties number got declined and the resistant varieties got increased. Means they are developed due to the mutation. So what happens after the Second World War? After the Second World War, the DDT was used to kill the vectors, that is the mosquitoes, in order to control the disease. Fine. So after the Second World War, what happens? There was a rapid spread of the disease. Fine. So due to that, what they did? They have spread the DDT. Fine. So what happens? This now the resistant varieties are few and the sensitive varieties died and the disease got controlled. After the spraying of the DDT, what happens here? The disease got controlled. Why? Because the sensitive varieties were more, so they died, and the resistant varieties were less. They got survived, but their number was less when compared to the sensitive one. Fine. So after 20 years, so here the disease got controlled. Somehow the disease got controlled because the sensitive varieties were more. Then slowly as the time passed, after 20 years, what happened? The disease again reoccurred. After 20 years, the disease again it got reappeared, and the same DDT was used to kill the vectors. Even after 20 years also, the same DDT was used to kill the vectors. But here the situation was not same. What happens here means this time the mosquitoes did not die and the disease not controlled. Here what happens here? The mosquitoes do not die because they were the resistant one. In the course of time, they have got developed and they got reproduced and the number got increased. Fine, and they got resistance means there was no effect of this DDT on these mosquitoes. So their number got increased and they got survived. But the one which was sensitive, they got vanished from there. So here what happens? The mosquitoes which were resistant, they did not die and the disease did not got controlled. Fine. So the analysis, what does this says that? The analysis shows that the DDT resistant varieties survived and they reproduced and the number got increased. In the course of time, what happens? The one which was resistant to DDT, they got their number got increased. They reproduced and their number got increased, and here we come to conclusion that our nature means our environment or the nature will select only those organisms which have got all favorable characters or which has got the capacity to overcome all the hazards and to live, and the one which is weak will be get eliminated from the nature. The stronger one will exist and the weaker one will get eliminated. So it is a nature law that we have to get adjust to the surrounding environment. Either it may be the animals or it may be the human beings. Everyone we have got the tendency to adjust with the changing environment. If we adjust, we will live, or else we have to quit from the surroundings, right? So what does this evidence says? That is the evidences from the DDT resistance. So it is very simple example. That is how these mosquitoes, that is what was the population and before the Second World War and what was the condition after the Second World War, right? So just once again we'll revise. So what happens here? The DDT resistance, it was invented by the Paul Miller. For what purpose the DDT was used? It is used to kill the mosquitoes, right? So you already know that these mosquitoes, they are the vectors which causes the diseases, fine. So here again in these vectors we have got two types of varieties. One is DDT sensitive variety and DDT resistant variety. So before the World War, the DDT sensitive varieties were more and the resistant variety was less. Right. So what happens here after spraying the DDT? The resistant varieties were died. Means they got died and the only few resistant varieties were lesser in number and they got survived and the disease got controlled. But after slowly, as the course of time, since after that is after the Second World War, the DDT was used to kill the vectors, that is mosquitoes, in order to control the diseases. And now the resistant varieties are few and the sensitive varieties died and the disease got controlled. Somehow the disease was controlled. But during the course of time, that is after 20 years, again the same disease got reoccurred. So what was the condition here means again the same DDT was used to kill the mosquitoes, but it was not having any effects because they were not sensitive one. The mosquitoes were of resistant varieties, means these resistant varieties they have already they did not died after spraying this DDT. So the disease did not got controlled. Fine. So according to this evidences, it shows that the nature will select only the organisms which have got capacity to adjust with the environment or to adjust or to fight with the changing in the surroundings or to overcome all the problems what they face. Fine. So that's about the today's class. So far we have came across two evidences. One is the evidences from the paleontology and then another one is the evidences from the natural selection. So again in natural selection, two examples. One is from the peppered moth, that is evidences from the peppered moth, and another one is the evidences from the DDT resistance in the mosquitoes. Okay. So the peppered moth, that is evidences from the peppered moth and the DDT resistance. These two examples for important. It will be asked for 3 marks in your exams. So both are very simple. With simple examples, we already explained. Hope you have understood. So in our remaining class, we'll start with adaptive radiation. So in adaptive radiation, we'll be dealing with examples, Darwin Finch's examples. Okay. So even that is a very interesting class. So we'll continue in remaining classes.